is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 3, I believe, of Reels and Thrills. Hope you all are doing safe during these uncertain times that we're experiencing as a country. So if you're new to this YouTube show, if you're new to these episodes, what the introduction will be is 3 of my personal favorite movies that I can recommend you for you to watch at home. Christian will then do a analysis on a score from a movie, and then Thomas will talk about a great movie like Robin Hood. Totally not, just kidding. But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and we have an animated movie in the mix, but I'm not going to kick it off first like I did last time. We're going to kick it off with a movie that is still to this day my favorite of the live-action adaptations that Disney has done, and that is Jon Favreau's The Jungle Book, starring Bill Murray, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, Scarlett Johansson, Christopher Walken, and it's basically a reimagination of the 1960s classic Jungle Book movie, but with more modern technology, and just adding more to its narrative. And to this day, it still remain my favorite of the live-action adaptations that have been made under Disney's repertoire. And just the special effects alone are pretty much breathtaking just to look at. But in this case, this remake, if you want to call it, adds so much heart and just a lot more mythology to expanding stuff on characters, just giving us more backstory on a lot of other things. And the voice work, like I said, with the actors, pretty much has one of my favorite casts assembled for any movie, Disney or not. And I think as far as live-action adaptations go, I just think it really takes a lot of inspirations from the 1960s classic, but really remains it as its own movie. And it's a beautiful, beautiful movie, just visually speaking, but underneath all the terrific special effects is something that I think is worth the watch. So that's our first one. So now we're going to kick it off, or I should say, now our next movie will be an animated movie, and it is definitely one that I really, really liked. But when I saw it again in the theater, I pretty much adored it, and that's Big Hero 6, as it almost came out of the case. Big Hero 6, which is based off of a very, wouldn't say as popular Marvel comic series, which I wasn't all that aware of prior to seeing it. I mean, I don't think I'd read a single issue before seeing Big Hero 6, but Big Hero 6 tells the story of this kid in Japan who really befriends this almost like marshmallow type of a character named Baymax, and together he meets these other people who are older teenagers that his older brother were friends with, and they form a little superhero organization, and it's really delightful. And getting into the film music part of it, Henry Jackman does the music for it, and it's wonderful. Henry Jackman's probably one of my favorite film composers that's working today, and I think Big Hero 6 is a very underrated Disney animation movie, coming out the same year as a Lego movie and How to Train Your Dragon 2 and things like that. But I think it also came out the same weekend as Interstellar did. So, fun fact. Now our last one is a movie that really... Well, we're going to go ahead and rush to it. It's J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Now, I'm more of a Star Wars person than I am a Star Trek person. I certainly admire the old Star Trek movies and some of the TV show episodes. But Star Trek never really hit me like Star Wars did on an emotional level. And I think J.J. Abrams really found a way to bring back Star Trek when it was before it came out, and I believe 2009, the franchise was dead. You had fans that were literally just getting away from the franchise, and J.J. Abrams comes back, or brings this movie back, and brings so much life and just organic material to the franchise. And you say what you will about the newer ones, I actually really enjoy all 3 of these movies, and this isn't my favorite Star Trek movie, or at least out of the J.J. Abrams ones, but it's really, really close. It's probably being a hard number 2 for the Star Trek movies that we've gotten, but it's great. Chris Pine's great in it, Zachary Quinto's great in it, and I believe... forget the villain. I'm going to know his name probably after I record this. But anyways, those are my 3 recommendations. We're going to go ahead and tune in. We'll get ready for next week. And then now we're going to kick it off for Christian's segment.
Hey everyone, my name's Christian Jessup. I may not have a camera still this week, but I do have some exciting analysis for you guys. Now, anyone that still remembers their high school literary classes might remember a term called deus ex machina. For those of you that don't remember it, it means an unexpected power or event that saves a seemingly hopeless situation. I'm sure we've seen all of these in books and movies, seems like all hope is lost, but then something just out of the blue happens or someone appears and it just completely saves a situation that otherwise seems like it would be completely hopeless. Well, I'm here to talk about how music in scenes like that really helps change the scene and change our moods to help, add to that sense of unexpected rescue. And I'm going to do so talking about 3 recent movies. The first of those movies is Dunkirk. And Dunkirk is one of the most stressful films I've ever watched. Highly recommend it, but it's definitely not a comfort film. And a lot of that is because of the music. Hans Zimmer does a really great job, kind of forcing tension onto you. There's a lot of dissonant notes, there's a lot of percussion, synthesizers, all of which are created to really make you feel uncomfortable. And so throughout the movie, the first 90% of it, you're hearing all these uncomfortable sounds of music until finally at the end we get some reprieve. Now, the setup for the scene is that a bunch of British soldiers are trapped on the coastline. They think no one's coming to rescue them. And then when they look out on the horizon, they see civilian boats that have come out of their way to save them and take them back to England. And you'll hear in the scene how the music completely shifts tones to be something bright, hopeful, and melodic.
Home.
I loved that scene in Dunkirk in theaters. Really helps completely change the mood and really adds to that sense of deus ex machina that we were talking about. Changes from completely hopeless music in a hopeless situation to very powerful and moving music and a powerful and moving scene in general. Next movie is a little bit different for us, and that is Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. That's a sequel to the 2008 film Mamma Mia, and it has a very different form of deus ex machina, but still just as powerful in my opinion. So, if you've not seen the movie, Sophie is trying to reopen her hotel that her mom owned. Her mom has passed away, and just everything seems to be going wrong. Guests haven't arrived, the hotel actually suffered storm damage, and it just kind of seems like all hope is lost for having a successful relaunch. Until she looks out on the horizon, very similar to Dunkirk actually, and she sees this happen.
Bill and Harry! No!
Now, obviously, a big part of that scene is played for laughs as much as it's played for heart, but it still really represents how music can completely add to that deus ex machina. Out of the blue, we see that her hopes of a hotel reopening are saved. And even though it's a funny scene and a funny song to go with it, you really can't help but smile whenever you see that happen and see it accompany the scene. The last film I want to talk about where this happens is very familiar to comic book fans everywhere, and that is Avengers Endgame. So Endgame's portal scene has obviously become an icon already, even in the little over a year since it's been out. And I think a big part of what contributed to that was the music. I think based on the other scenes I've gone through, you can tell where I'm going with the deus ex machina here. Captain America seems to be completely on his own against Thanos and his army. Doesn't seem like there's any help, and you literally see that image of just Captain America standing alone with thousands of enemy troops on the other side against him. And then you finally see portals open and all these heroes start coming back. It's a really big moment. Heroes that you thought you'd lost all returning, but obviously the music is really powerful during this scene. Nice little anthemic melodic tune to really help you from the hopeless situation before, and then finally it culminates in that rousing rendition of the Avengers theme.
Avengers! Assemble.
Probably seen videos circulating where crowds are just cheering like it's a football game when this happens, and I think this is really the ultimate representation of what a deus ex machina can do and how music can really help that scene. The music and the film work perfectly together to make you change from that seemingly hopeless situation to finding this unexpected solution that really adds power and emotion to the scene. So drop a comment below, tell us some films where you've seen a deus ex machina, and let us know how the music really helped that scene. And that'll be it for this week.